Picture this. You're sitting across from her at a coffee shop. Third date, maybe fourth. The conversation turns to past relationships, and she tells you exactly what she's looking for. I want someone emotionally available, she says. Someone who communicates, who's stable, responsible, someone who actually treats me well for once. You listen, you nod, and somewhere deep inside you think, I'm that guy. So you become him. More accurately, you reveal that you already are him. You text back promptly. You plan thoughtful dates. You listen when she talks about her day. You're consistent, reliable, present. You check every single box on her list. And she leaves you for a guy who checks none of them. Maybe you've lived this, brother. Maybe you're living it right now. Maybe you're scrolling through her Instagram at 2 a.m, looking at pictures of her with him, the guy who can't hold down a job, who ghosts her for days, who treats her like an option, while you treated her like a priority. And the confusion eats at you. What did I do wrong? You replay every conversation, every text, every moment, searching for the mistake, the misstep, the thing you said or didn't say that made her choose chaos over care. But here's what's really breaking your mind. She's complaining about him. To her friends. Maybe even to you, if you're still in that torture chamber called friendship. She says he doesn't text back, that he's emotionally unavailable, that she doesn't know where she stands. She's describing everything she said she didn't want, and she's staying with him anyway. So was she lying? Was it all performance? Some cruel game where you were the punchline? No, my friend. It's something far more primal than that. Something she doesn't even understand about herself. She genuinely believed what she told you. Her conscious mind, the part that speaks, that reasons, that constructs narratives about who she is, absolutely meant every word. But there's another part, an older part, a part that doesn't speak in language but in sensation, in arousal, in ancient code written 200,000 years ago on the African savannah. And that part? It's running a completely different program. This isn't about her being shallow. This isn't about you not being enough. This is about a war between her prefrontal cortex and her limbic system, between civilization and evolution, between what she thinks she wants and what her biology demands she respond to. And evolution, brother? Evolution always wins. Let me take you back, way back, before dating apps, before marriage, before civilization itself. Picture the ancestral environment, 50,000 years ago. A woman stands at the edge of her tribe, and she faces a problem that will determine whether her genetic line survives or goes extinct. She needs two completely different things from men, and she probably can't get both from the same one. First, she needs genetic quality, the best possible DNA for her offspring. In that environment, that meant physical strength, health markers, dominance within the social hierarchy, the ability to take risks and win, the kind of man who could protect resources, intimidate rivals, whose children would be strong enough to survive. But she also needs parental investment, resources, protection over time, consistency, a man who'll stay, who'll provide, who'll help raise offspring that take 15 years to reach independence. These are competing strategies. The most genetically dominant men, the apex males, had options. They didn't need to stick around. And the most reliable men, the steady providers, often weren't the most genetically impressive specimens. So her brain evolved a solution, a dual mating strategy. Short-term mating, get genetic quality from the apex male when possible. Long-term mating, secure resources and investment from the reliable male. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Her attraction system, the part that generates arousal, not just logical appreciation, is calibrated for the short-term mating strategy, because that's the high-stakes gamble. That's where genetic fitness is transmitted. The long-term strategy? That's managed by her rational mind, her planning, her recognition that she needs stability. But rationality doesn't create desire, brother. It creates appreciation. You can be appreciated without being desired, and that's exactly where most good men end up. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about her ovulatory cycle. Every month, her hormones fluctuate dramatically, and with those fluctuations comes a shift in what she finds attractive. During the follicular phase, when estrogen peaks right before ovulation, her brain is focused on genetic fitness. Studies show women during this phase prefer masculine faces, deeper voices, dominant body language, even the scent of men with high testosterone. This is when she's most fertile, and her biology is screaming, "Get the best genes possible." But during the luteal phase, after ovulation, when progesterone dominates, preference shifts. Now she's drawn to nurturing behaviors, stability, kindness, signs of paternal investment. Same woman, two completely different preference sets, cycling every single month. So when she tells you what she wants, ask yourself, which phase is speaking? Now let's talk about the chemical warfare happening in her brain. There are two key systems, dopamine and oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's released during cuddling, consistent intimacy, safe attachment. It creates warm feelings, contentment, the desire to nest and build. Dopamine is the excitement hormone. It's released during novelty, uncertainty, risk, anticipation. It's what gets triggered when she doesn't know if he'll text back, when he's unpredictable, when there's chaos. And here's the cruel joke, brother. Dopamine is far more powerful than oxytocin in the attraction phase. Dopamine creates addiction. Oxytocin creates attachment. She can be attached to you and not addicted to you. She can love you and not crave you. The stable relationship, the one where you're consistent, where there's no drama, where she knows you'll show up, floods her system with oxytocin. She feels safe. But safety doesn't create arousal. Safety creates comfort. The chaotic relationship, the one where he's hot and cold, where she's constantly anxious about where she stands, where every text back is a dopamine spike. That's the one her body confuses with passion. Her brain is literally mistaking anxiety for chemistry. And you, my friend, with your healthy communication and emotional availability, you're triggering the wrong chemical system entirely. So when she says she wants a good man, she means it. Her prefrontal cortex, the rational, modern, civilized part, absolutely means it. But her limbic system, the ancient, primal, biological part that actually controls arousal, it's running a different program entirely. And you can't negotiate with evolution. Let's talk about the gap between what women say they want and what they actually respond to. Psychologists call this stated preference versus revealed preference. Stated preference. What someone says they want when asked directly. Revealed preference. What they actually choose when faced with real options. And brother, the gap between these two? It's a canyon. Studies have tried to map this for decades. Researchers ask women what they find attractive in a partner. The answers are remarkably consistent. Kindness, sense of humor, emotional intelligence, stability, good communication. Then those same researchers track who these women actually date, sleep with, pursue. And the correlation? Almost zero. The traits that generate attraction, that create that visceral physical pull, are almost entirely different from the traits women report wanting. Let me break down the actual attraction formula, the one her biology responds to, whether she admits it or not. Trait 1. Unpredictability. Predictability equals safety. Safety equals low dopamine. Low dopamine equals no excitement. No excitement equals, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. When you're predictable, when she knows you'll always text back, always be available, always say yes, you become emotionally cheap, low value, abundant. The guy who's unpredictable, who has a life she's not the center of, who sometimes doesn't respond for hours because he's genuinely busy with his mission. He's scarce, and scarcity creates value. Trait 2. Pre-selection. Women are attracted to men that other women want. It's called mate choice copying, and it's been documented across dozens of species. If other women desire you, her brain interprets that as social proof. You've been pre-vetted. You have options. And if you have options, you're not desperate. The guy she left you for? Other women probably orbit him. She sees the competition. and competition triggers her mate-guarding instincts. You, being faithful and devoted and eyes only for her, you signaled that you have no options, that you need her, and need is the opposite of attraction. Trait 3. Dominance displays. Not aggression, not abuse, but the willingness to assert yourself, to take up space, to lead without asking permission. Social dominance, being respected by other men, having status within a hierarchy, showing confidence in decision-making, triggers ancient arousal mechanisms. When you deferred to her constantly, asked what she wanted instead of deciding, sought her approval before acting, you signaled submission. And submission doesn't create arousal in the female brain. It creates contempt. Trait 4. Emotional unavailability. The guy who's a little bit distant, who doesn't pour his heart out, who maintains some mystery, some autonomy, some separateness. This creates what psychologists call the chase dynamic. She has to pursue, she has to wonder, she has to work for his emotional access. And we value what we work for. You gave her everything, total transparency, complete emotional availability. You were an open book. And open books are boring, brother. There's no mystery left, no pages to turn, no discovery. Trait 5. Risk-taking behavior. Men who take risks, calculated or otherwise, signal genetic fitness. They signal confidence, outcome independence, a lack of fear. This doesn't mean recklessness, but it means not playing it safe, not optimizing for her comfort at every turn. The guy she's with now? He risks losing her constantly through his behavior. And paradoxically, that risk-taking is part of what keeps her hooked. You played it safe. You optimized for keeping her. And that optimization telegraphed fear. Fear of loss. Fear of replacement. Fear of being alone. Now let me tell you about the rationalization hamster. It's not a kind term, but it's accurate. It describes the mental gymnastics women perform to explain their choices to themselves when those choices contradict their stated values. She says she wants a good man, then she chooses chaos. Her brain needs to resolve this dissonance, so it creates stories. He's not like other guys. He's just been hurt before. He needs someone who understands him. We have this deep connection. He's working on himself. These are post hoc rationalizations. The choice came first, driven by biology. The story came second, driven by the need to protect her self-image. She genuinely believes these stories, brother. She's not consciously lying. Her brain is protecting her from the uncomfortable truth that she's attracted to traits that don't serve her long-term well-being, that her arousal system is calibrated for an ancestral environment that no longer exists, that she doesn't fully understand her own desires. And if she doesn't understand them, how could you? You were playing checkers, she was playing chess, and neither of you realized you weren't even on the same board. Let me tell you about Marcus, 37 years old, architect, made good money, had his life together, emotionally intelligent guy, went to therapy, read books on relationships, genuinely wanted to be a good partner. He met Sarah at a friend's wedding. She was 32, coming out of what she described as a toxic relationship with a guy who'd kept her on an emotional roller coaster for 3 years. Marcus seemed like everything she needed. Stable, communicative, present. He didn't play games. He called when he said he would. He made plans in advance. He met her friends. He was building towards something real. They dated for 2.5 years. Around the 18-month mark, Sarah started saying things. Little comments. I feel like we're more like best friends than lovers. I miss feeling that spark. Things feel too comfortable. Marcus, being the good partner he was trained to be, asked what he could do differently. She couldn't articulate it. It's not you, she'd say. I don't know. So he tried harder. More date nights, more emotional check-ins, more romance, more effort. And with every additional effort, he felt her pull further away. By year 2, the sex had dropped off significantly. She was always tired or stressed. But he'd see her come alive around other people, at parties, at work events. Her energy was still there, just not for him. Then one day, Sarah told him she needed space, to figure herself out, to work on herself. 3 weeks later, Marcus saw her Instagram story. She was with someone new. And this guy? This guy was everything Marcus wasn't. Bartender, aspiring musician, no clear career path, covered in tattoos, had that distant, brooding energy. Took 2 days to text back, posted pictures with other women. Everything Sarah said she was done with after her last relationship. Marcus came to me destroyed, and the first thing I asked him was, "Did you notice the warning signs?" Because they were there, brother. They're always there. You just have to know what to look for. Warning sign number 1. She romanticizes toxic exes. If a woman constantly references the passion or intensity or chemistry she had with someone who treated her poorly, pay attention. She's telling you that her arousal system is wired to chaos, that drama registers as depth, that dysfunction feels like connection. Sarah talked about her ex constantly, how intense it was, how she'd never felt that way before, all while describing emotional abuse. Red flag. Her brain has chemically bonded to toxicity. Warning sign number 2. She creates drama when things are stable. Some women have a subconscious need for conflict, for emotional intensity, for problems to solve. When the relationship is peaceful, when there's no crisis, no tension, they feel bored. So they manufacture issues. Sarah would pick fights after their best weekends together. She'd create problems out of nothing. You didn't text me back fast enough. You don't look at me the way you used to. This wasn't about the actual issues. This was about generating dopamine through conflict. Warning sign number 3. Her interest spikes when you pull away. Marcus noticed this pattern but didn't understand it. Whenever he was busy with work, unavailable, focused on a project, Sarah would suddenly be more affectionate, more sexual, more engaged. But the moment he was fully present and available again, her interest would wane. This is the pursue-withdraw dynamic. Her attraction is tied to scarcity, not presence. Warning sign number 4. She dates projects. Women with savior complexes are attracted to broken men because fixing them provides purpose, drama, and critically, keeps her in the position of power. She doesn't want an equal partnership. She wants to feel needed, to be the one who saved him. A man who has his life together? She doesn't get to be the hero in that story. Sarah's dating history was a parade of men with potential but no follow-through. Artists who never finished their work. Entrepreneurs who never launched. Men she could help. Marcus didn't need help, so he didn't trigger that dynamic. 6 months after the breakup, Marcus ran into Sarah. She looked exhausted. The new guy wasn't treating her well, shocking no one. "I don't know why I do this," she told Marcus. There were tears. "You were so good to me." Past tense. Were. Marcus had spent months in that conversation in his head, imagined what he'd say, how he'd respond. But when the moment came, all he felt was nothing. "I hope you figure it out," he told her, and he walked away, because he'd finally understood he was never the problem. He was the wrong solution to her broken pattern, and you can't fix what someone isn't ready to see. So if this pattern is so common, if the biology is this clear, why doesn't anyone tell you? Why does every rom-com, every song, every therapist, every cultural message tell you the opposite? Because, brother, there's a system in place, and that system benefits from your confusion. From the time you're a boy, you're fed a narrative. Be kind, be respectful, listen to her, communicate your feelings. The good guy wins in the end. Every Disney movie, every romantic comedy, every coming-of-age story. The hero is sensitive, understanding, patient. He respects her boundaries. He waits. He proves himself through virtue. And in the final act, she realizes he was the one all along. Except that's not how it works in reality, is it? In reality, the good guy watches from the sidelines while she dates the antagonist. And there's no third act realization, no moment where she sees the light. She just picks someone else. Modern feminism has a foundational premise. Men and women are essentially the same. Any differences are socialized, not biological. This premise is necessary for the equality framework, for the idea that we should have identical preferences, identical behaviors, identical relationship dynamics. But it's scientifically false. Sexual dimorphism exists. Evolutionary psychology is real. Men and women have different mating strategies because they faced different adaptive pressures for hundreds of thousands of years. But acknowledging this threatens the narrative. If women are biologically wired for hypergamy, to seek the highest status mate available, that complicates the equality story. If female arousal responds to dominance and male status hierarchies, that contradicts the patriarchy is purely oppressive framework. So the research gets buried, the scientists get smeared, the conversation gets shut down. Let me tell you what no one else will. You can't negotiate desire. You cannot logic someone into being attracted to you. You cannot earn arousal through good behavior. You cannot build a case for why she should want you. Desire isn't a reward for virtue. It's a response to specific triggers, most of them subconscious, many of them amoral. Being a good man is the baseline, brother. It's the entry point, not the trophy. You thought being decent made you special. It doesn't. It makes you basic. And in the current sexual marketplace, basic is invisible. Men love idealistically. We love the essence of a woman. We love sacrificially. We're wired to protect, provide, die for our mate and offspring. Male love is unconditional in its purest form. We fall in love with who she is, and that love persists even when circumstances change. Female love is different. Women love opportunistically, pragmatically. They love what you provide, emotionally, physically, socially, materially. Female love is conditional on continued performance. You lose your job, she reconsiders the relationship. You show weakness repeatedly, her respect erodes. You stop generating the feelings she associates with attraction, she starts looking elsewhere. This isn't her being a bad person. This is evolutionary strategy. So where does that leave you? Broken? Bitter? Hating women? No, brother. Awake. And from here, you rebuild. Not for her, for you. Stop seeking female validation. Your worth as a man is not determined by whether a woman desires you. Your value is not measured by relationship status, by sexual conquest, by her approval. The moment you internalize this, truly internalize it, not just intellectually agree, everything changes. Because here's the paradox. When you stop needing her validation, you become more attractive. When you're outcome independent, when you genuinely don't care if she stays or leaves, when your mission is primary and she's secondary, that's when you trigger her arousal system. Scarcity creates value, brother. And the scarcest thing in the modern world isn't a good man. It's a man who doesn't need to be chosen. Cultivate scarcity. You need a life that she's lucky to be part of, not one that revolves around her. Your time is valuable. Your attention is valuable. Your emotional availability is valuable. Treat these as scarce resources. Don't always be available. Don't always respond immediately. Don't rearrange your schedule to accommodate hers by default. Not as manipulation, as authentic prioritization. You have a mission, a purpose, work that matters. She gets access to your time when it aligns with your priorities, not as the default. Maintain unpredictability. This doesn't mean being chaotic or unreliable in ways that matter. It means maintaining autonomy, making decisions without running them by her, having parts of your life that are yours alone. Mystery isn't dishonesty, it's maintaining separateness. Build genuine options. You need to be the kind of man other women want, not to cheat, not to manipulate, but to create authentic abundance. Because women can sense when you have options. Build your status, your career, your physique, your social circle, your skills. Enforce boundaries. The moment she disrespects you, tests you, crosses a line, you address it immediately. No negotiation, no lengthy explanations. The willingness to walk away is the ultimate power in any relationship. Most men fear being alone more than being disrespected, and women sense that fear instantly. You need to genuinely be okay with losing her, not as a bluff, as a reality. If she's not meeting your standards, if the relationship isn't adding value to your life, you leave. She didn't choose wrong, she chose according to her nature. You weren't inadequate, You were playing the wrong game. The rules you were taught were lies. But now you see the game clearly. You're no longer confused, just informed. And from this place of clarity, you build something different. Not the perfect relationship, not the fairy tale, but power. Power over your own life. Power to choose consciously. Power to walk away from what doesn't serve you. Power to build a mission that matters more than any woman's approval. You can't change her biology, but you can change your strategy, and that changes everything. If this resonated, brother, share it with a man who needs to hear it. Comment below and tell me, what's the biggest lie you were told about attraction? You deserve respect. You deserve reciprocal investment. You deserve a woman who chooses you consciously, not settles for you unconsciously. But first, you have to claim your own value. She chose the guy she said she'd never date because her biology told her to. Now you know why. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?